Virgin Radio 104.4. It's the Kris Fade Show. Our next guest, I went to write down all the things he has achieved and he has done over the years, but we would not be able to actually do the interview. I would just be listing them all out. But I have a few, and I just want to run through. Correct me what I've got here. Obviously, a serial entrepreneur, investor, the jack of all trades, an author, the co-founder of the Miami Dolphins.
No.
That's what someone wrote here for me, and I was like, no.
I'm a little younger than that. Thank you.
You were the vice chairman of the Miami Dolphins.
Wow.
Obviously, being on Shark Tank, one of the guys that made it all with Gary Vee. He is a CEO. He's a good guy as well.
Yeah.
We've been chatting to him before the radio. Charisma and a good human being, the one, the only. It's Matt Higgins, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. And from Queens, New York.
AA represent.
So, obviously, pretty originally from Queens, New York. You were born and raised in Queens, New York, huh?
I was indeed. I was born in an area called Bayside. I used to work in Rego Park, though.
Yep, which is where I'm from.
I hear you always say Rego Park.
That's where I'm from.
We took the same bus line. We were just
We
doing
literally did.
Really?
Yes, we took the same bus.
Q11 and the Q88.
That's right.
He knows it.
If you know the pain, you know the pain.
Exactly.
Matt, we got you in for a few reasons. Obviously, you got a new book out called Burn the Boats, which I'm going to talk about pretty soon. It's the Wall Street Journal bestseller, by the way. But I wanted to just bring up, I want to. A lot of people know who you are. There'll be some people that listen to this have no idea who Matt Higgins is, and I really want to just run through this story because it's a great one. You didn't come from much. You weren't one of these guys that was just gifted in a family of cash who have just been going, there you go, there's son, there's the company, start building it even bigger.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
I
highly
agree.
recommend it if possible.
That's the right way going about it. No, but you came from just a regular family, probably from Queens, New York. How did this all happen? You dropped out of high school, like you didn't go. You finished, I think, at the age of 16, but then you went back. How did this all happen for you to where you are right now?
Yeah, and that's the big reason why I wrote the book. So, and you can understand growing up in Queens, I grew up in poverty. People use those words, they lose the meaning. It just meant I grew up eating government cheese. And I was that annoying kid that would knock on your window on a holiday and guilt you into buying flowers for your girlfriend. You know, so that's cool. I did every kind of job. And then and the background of my life was the desperation of poverty. Took care of a sick parent who was slowly slipping away. And I began to realize that the rules didn't work for me and that I had to define my own life. The cavalry wasn't coming. And I came up with a hack that if you dropped out of high school and you did well enough on a test called the GED, which is usually an oxymoron, well enough on the GED. It's usually like a test of last resort. But technically, you go to any college in America at the time. It may have changed now. So that's exactly what I did. And when I told my guidance counselors and the teachers, like, hey, I have a great idea, everyone said, you're crazy. You're going to be a loser. But what they didn't have is a window into my world, that I was desperate and I was watching a parent slip away and that the rules didn't work for me. And I made that radical decision. Fast forward, I went from scraping gum under McDonald's at 16 to by 26, I was press secretary to the mayor of New York, overseeing the rebuilding of the World Trade Center site after 9/11.
Gosh.
Okay, but there's
I skipped a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little.
You missed a bit.
It's radio, boy. Don't get too heavy in the morning.
No, but honestly, like, you obviously said that the rules didn't apply for you. And for some people, they do. Like, for some people, their day job, their 9 to 5, that's what they're built to do. That's what they like. That's what they accept. They want that. But there are individuals where they don't want to do that daily job. And the three of us in studio, that's sort of like us. We never got into that corporate 9 to 5 job. We knew it couldn't be for us. So you felt that there was a difference. You knew you didn't want to just go into the workforce doing a 9 to 5. I mean, I'm out.
Yeah, and I by the way, to your point, if it works for you, terrific. There's a lot of shaming happening these days, or deification of being an entrepreneur. It doesn't work for everybody. But I do think it's important to ask yourself a fundamental question. Am I the base case or am I an edge case? A base case is somebody for whom the rules work for them. As a kid, I was an edge case because I would work at Rego Park overnight at a deli carrying a butterfly knife so I wouldn't get jumped on the way home. You know what I mean?
Sounds great.
Welcome to my neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a really happy life, by the way. So I think all of us have to ask ourselves, are we an edge case? And if we are, that means we have to burn the boats. We have to make our own template for our lives.
Okay. The book that we've got in our hands right now, which is Burn the Boats, which is exactly what you're talking about right now, is, congratulations, the Wall Street Journal bestseller. Round of applause for that.
Yes, amazing.
That's not an easy thing. Now, I'm looking at the back of it. These are people that have been talking about the book. First of all, I hate Plan B. I always tell people to achieve big dreams. You have to ignore the naysayers, but the naysayers are external. When you finish reading this book, I can't wait to hear more about who you inspire. That is from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow.
You know Arnold?
I don't.
So how did he?
That was the whole. So I remember when I worked on this book, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get a range of people, some of whom I know, to talk about the simple idea: what metaphorical boats did they need to burn in their mind in order to be successful? Arnold Schwarzenegger gave an epic speech online talking about how he hates Plan B, and I was like, I need to get Arnold Schwarzenegger. How do I get to him? I go to his son on Instagram and say, your Daddy Arnold, inspired this book. Can I get it to him? He's like, look, I'll try. I get an email back 3 weeks later with a quote from Arnold.
Wow.
So now I tell the truth about that story. Now I could pretend I know him now.
No, but that's great.
But I want to show, again, I'm trying to live the truth of my book. I was like, I am going to get Arnold Schwarzenegger on the top of this book.
I think you got Jay Shetty, Bobby Brown, Mark Cuban. I love Kat Cole. There's so many more. This book is officially out now across the world. It's called Burn the Boats. Advice. Let's talk about people listening right now to the show. All right. There's a lot of people that are in a job they can't stand. All right. But they need to be in that job because they have kids and they have bills, but they probably feel like they have another reason to life. There's another meaning that they should be doing something else. How do you do both? Because you can't just quit your job, right? We can't just quit the job. Is there a way of doing both? Can you start that side hustle? Can you start to see where it's going to go? Have you got any advice?
Yeah, first of all, I think you have to do both. The whole premise of the book is that the reason why we don't achieve what we want, this longing we have, is that we don't fully commit. And we save space for hesitation, otherwise called as a backup plan. Yeah. Now, we're taught as young people that a backup plan is prudent, and your kid comes to you, say, I'm going to be the next Taylor Swift. Maybe you should be an accountant. We think we're doing right by people by injecting that doubt. And what the science shows and what history shows is the reason we conjure a backup plan is not for prudence. It's to ameliorate, to limit the psychological pain of wanting something so bad. So the person out there who has this dream and then they're afraid to go all in, the answer is yes, just make the first step. Just take that first step. You don't have to have it all figured out. I teach at Harvard Business School. At the end of every class, when I bring these entrepreneurs in, I say, what's the one piece of advice you'd want to give to the young version of yourself in this room? They always say the same thing, like 90%. They say, oh, just trust that you'll figure it out, which is the opposite of the anxiety that we all carry. We think we have to have it all figured out at the beginning. So what I wanted to do with this book is say, let me pull back the curtain and show all the ways in which the most successful people in the country, Scarlett Johansson, who's I'm an investor with one of her businesses, all these amazing people, they all had a metaphorical boat in their mind that beckoned them to retreat from their plan A and show what it means to burn the boats. This phrase is very bombastic, right? Burn the boats. We all know Cortez. The book is the opposite. It talks about my anxiety. It talks about the shame I carried for growing up poor, not knowing which fork to use, still don't. All the things that we carry when we go through pain, to show that we all have it and we all had to overcome it, and you could do the same thing too. So the answer to anyone out there listening is like, the reason why you're not getting what you want out of life is because you're carrying two opposing thoughts at the same time. What if I did? What if I didn't? What if it works out? What if it won't? And you need to put yourself in a position that you could fully commit. Easier said than done. And I present a 4-step process, might be too early to get into, about how to do it.
Is there an audio side to this?
There is. I recorded it on Audible.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm not a reader, but I love audiobooks.
No, and I don't record it in your voice. I wish I could.
I could do it for you next time.
Would you mind doing it for me?
I would. Let me just open up a page here. Can I just, let me randomly, here we go. Let me see what we find here. I'll go to one of the, here we go. It says, pick the right person to join you in the foxhole. Now, what I'm going to do here, Matt.
Are you going to do it in that voice?
Oh, dear. Oh, boy. Here we go.
Echo.
My wife, Sarah, is my secret superpower in all ways. The calmest and most rational person I know. The key to me controlling my anxiety, and my complete and absolute partner in everything I do. As we help each other unleash our fullest potential on the world. Man, I love that I opened it up to that page.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, you're giving me. First of all, you made me so happy.
I love that. That was a random.
Actually making me teary.
That
you opened up to that.
That gave me goosebumps as well, man. Because I know how important having having that support network is. Your wife, huh?
Yeah, no, that's amazing that you opened it up, and it's interesting in business we don't talk about this. I love how in LinkedIn. God
I love
forbid,
that you're getting emotional.
No, I am, because
I love
that's like my favorite part of the whole book. Where did you open it up to?
I just opened it up to this.
That's the craziest thing that has. And I've been doing this for 6 months. That is the nuttiest thing, because Sarah's here with me.
Oh.
And so I went through a tough divorce, and a divorce levels you. And we don't talk in business about how important it is that you have the right person in your foxhole. And if you have the right person, that it is the greatest force multiplier on earth. And I have redefined my professional life to incorporate her wherever I go. So nutty that you just opened it up. It's funny if you post anything personal on LinkedIn, be like, not here. Like, like as if we're automatons. Yeah. And one of the things I do when I do a deal, I always want to meet the person's partner because it tells me, are they fighting a two-front war? We're trying to build a company. We're trying to do something really hard. And then I could see that look when somebody kind of rolls their eyes when their partner is shining, those little signals. And again, we all have it, but at least now I know what I'm dealing with. The fact that I think you opened that up on purpose.
No,
I swear to you,
you just
handed me this book. I don't even know where I'm at.
But the best part is you did it in the radio voice.
Yeah, that's right. I resonate with that so much. I went through a brutal divorce as well.
So you understand.
And now remarried, about to have my third child with my second wife, her first baby.
Congratulations.
In 6 weeks. And it's so true. Like, and I run a business on the side of what I do here. I've got a fairly large snack company now across the region, and she's my partner in it. And without her support, I don't think I could do it. I also went through anxiety and depression, and having her by my side just gave me that comfort of things are going to be okay. And everyone on the outside may think, wow, everything's so good to Kris and everything's so, but they don't know what happens sometimes behind those closed doors.
Well, the book, sometimes somebody will mention something and I'm like, I didn't put that in the book, did I? There are things that certain pages I won't read in the book, including I put the divorce in.
Sure.
Because somebody's out there alone in a hole thinking this is the end of my life.
Correct.
And I wanted to just enough signaling to tell you, I know I've been there. And by the way, it can work out. And back to partnership, Sarah's with me in the room at Harvard when I teach, and she's in the back. She puts the logistics together. But the number one best decision I ever made was having the right partner in the foxhole.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love it. The book is out. Burn the Boats. It's out. The Wall Street Journal bestseller. Make sure you check it out. Matt Higgins.
So earlier you were talking about how not everyone is cut out for the entrepreneurship life, and there's a lot of shaming that goes along with it. I feel like a lot of times now it's like, what more are you doing? Well, you're doing this. You have a successful career. Is there a clear-cut way to know I can make it or I can't, or you must be able to spot it?
Oh, great question. And this is interesting. I talk to students at Harvard Business School now, from where we sit, from Rico Park, Queens. You think like, you're going to be okay. Everything has it all figured out. And the reality is, even at that level, they are just as confused about life. And the thing that causes the confusion is they jump to the what do I want to do questions instead of the who do I want to be questions. Okay. And I think the who do I want to be questions are the ones that determine whether or not we're truly an entrepreneur. So to make that less abstract, do I want to be the kind of person that is part of a team? Or do I want to be a lone wolf? Do I perform better when I have no direction? Or do I really need direction? Do I want to be in a structured environment, 9 to 5, or do I thrive when I get to run around the world? It's those questions about really who are you, as opposed to the things that earn your esteem of others. That's how I think you figure it out. But I hate the way society has turned into like you have to be an entrepreneur, side hustle culture. All the time. It's like it's a little bit nonsensical, and a lot of that stuff, frankly, just doesn't work out. Now, it's fun to be an entrepreneur. So if it's in you, but you start by asking those questions. Who am I?
Can I ask you, Matt Higgins with us, tell me some things that we would know that you have worked for, started, invested, owned. Can you mention some things?
You said snacks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw one out. Magic Spoon.
Wow.
Really?
Yes, I know Magic. Oh, yeah, I spent a lot of time in the States.
All right, so I wrote first check into Magic Spoon, first round, so that would be one. I have a lot of direct-to-consumer brands, probably 100-plus brands, Everlane, Glossier. Some of them are small stakes, but I created a communications firm that became the darling for these startups and then ended up writing equity checks into it. I'm trying to now, of course, you need to put me on the spot.
Momofuku, big one.
Oh, wait, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Wait for it. Banana.
Pudding, Magnolia.
Magnolia Bakery. Oh, now you're talking.
Listen.
Right.
Hold on. You own Magnolia Bakery.
It's a little bit of a flex for the morning. It might be almost too much for radio to handle. I do own Magnolia Bakery.
Prove it. Where's the banana pudding?
Here, this is a good story. I don't know. I think it's in the book, actually.
How did you...
Okay, pandemic, right? I don't like to build a factory to make one car. I'm a big investor in Milk Bar with Christina Tosi.
Yeah.
I love Christina Tosi. She's like my sister. But I learned a lot of things the hard way, as you're learning now, about distribution, direct to consumer, what works, what doesn't. So once I went through the pain, I'm like, how do I always want to leverage pain. And so there's an opportunity to buy Magnolia. And I was like, what happened to Magnolia after Sex in the City? Like, why isn't Magnolia every? But then I go down Bleecker Street in New York. I live in New York City. But the lines are still there with tourists. I'm like, it was like a little fly stuck in ember, frozen in time. And then I started looking at it. I had a deal to buy it for a great price. You know when it was going to close? Monday, March 16th, the year of the pandemic. And so it's like, now I got to buy this business that's brick and mortar and everything is shutting down. And we went forward with the deal ultimately. One of the best purchases ever. And now I'm taking Magnolia pudding and bringing it to supermarkets in the form of a cookie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And anybody listening, by the way, wants to do a deal to help me bring it to this region. Operators are standing by.
I'll do it with you.
Yeah, you want to do it together? Seriously, you want to do it
I
together?
got all the distribution here.
He's got all
ready
the
to go.
cash as well.
We just made some serious money together in the morning while talking about burning the boats.
I love that. Done.
Chris,
This is cool.
You do understand that because you are my best friend, you will have to give me banana pudding for the rest of my life.
You get lifetime supply.
Thank
pretty
you.
much.
Isn't that a great brand?
I love
Amazing.
it. Well, they're fairly heavy here. You know, they've got a few here.
We have 6 units here.
Oh, you know,
I mean, I should, right? Well,
I just wasn't sure.
What do you think? Do I not seem hands-on to you?
Banana pudding day is the best day of the year for me.
We just promoted actually the Banana Pudding Day a couple of months
By the way,
ago.
you know it's going to be fun? You're recording tomorrow morning.
Yep.
When you see what happens tomorrow morning, it's going to be scary. How much banana pudding is going to arrive on this tonight.
Yes.
Best day ever.
Yeah.
It is. I'm like, I hope I have the juice to make that happen.
But it is the first time I tried the banana pudding was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. It was here, and someone told me to go try it. I know Pretty told me about it, and there is something about that is just crazy. Then when I went to New York City, I went to that shop as a tourist. I took the kids, took my wife. I said, I want to go there because it's the OG one, and we stayed there. We waited in the line. It was cool. We had it. So there's
Right, and think about that. You weren't subjected to any marketing since they didn't do any for like 15 years.
Nothing.
And yet
Word
that
of
line
mouth.
Isn't that amazing?
Word of
So
mouth.
what a great acquisition. But I just giving you a sense of my philosophy. Once I do one thing, I'm like, all right, now I know what I'm doing. Let me go ahead and let me press it.
How do you manage them all when you've got so many things going on? Like, how do you keep an eye on them all?
Yeah, I think the truthful answer is my life is usually pretty miserable because I'm only focusing on the thing that's not working. I sort of deny myself, and maybe this is unhealthy. I don't have a lot of victory laps. I wake up every day like, oh, God, that's not working. And I try not to believe my own propaganda. And so when you answer that, I'm like, it's a damn good question. Probably not well. And the way I do it, it's context shifting. And I ask myself, what's the highest and best use of Matt Higgins today? Where can I have the greatest impact? What is most broken? And what I usually find where I have the greatest impact is surfacing the missing conversations. A conversation I'm not having with a founder who really shouldn't be the founder anymore. You know what I mean? Or something that I have, there's a conflict that I'm harboring and I haven't addressed it. That's where I put my energy.
Well, you must have a massive positive mindset because you're thinking about all the negatives, but then you flip it to the positive.
I do because I'll give you an example. You work out a lot because you're a beast of a man. By the way. Let's talk about it.
Just relax, calm down.
Yes, all right. So you're a beast.
Yeah.
So I was at the gym on Sunday before I was going on this trip, right? And I was doing flies, very heavy flies, 60 pounds, if you'd like to know. Right?
That's a good amount. That's a good amount.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's a
I
good
know I
amount.
don't look like that,
No,
but I could.
yeah,
So I had some weights around me, forgot about it. I'm flying, and I like to violently throw the weight to feel like, Hulk Hogan, right?
Yeah,
I
beast.
drop it, and my hand gets stuck between it. Whatever. I do this, right?
Yeah.
So I crushed my hand, but I had gotten a note from my little boy right beforehand saying, hey, Dad, you want to go to the diner and talk? And I'm like, oh, it's so hard to get teenagers to talk. I call my wife, Sarah. I'm like, babe, I think I crushed my hand, but can you get water so I can conceal it in a bag and take him to the diner for a bit? Take him to the diner, go to the hospital. It turns out, and I was like, you think I broke it? He's like, no, you'd be screaming. Comes back, he's like, not only you broke it, you shattered both fingers. Here's the good part. I'm getting to the point of the story. I because where it dropped, it only crushed the edges of my fingers. We don't really need the edges, right? So I was able to tape them. Still take this trip. The air pressure didn't feel good on the way over. But as a result, now I was like, God, the universe must want me to do cardio.
No more weights.
And I still got to hang out with my son, and my son knows I broke my fingers, and I still went to that diner.
Wow.
For the rest of his life, he will know
Daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy is a badass.
Yeah.
He went to the diner.
That's a really cool story. I love that.
So my attitude of life, and similar to Burn the Boats, every every crisis bursts an opportunity, but it's incumbent upon you to look for it. And it always proves true to me. When something is hard or hurts, if I look for the opportunity, I make sure that I can extract more than is ever taken from me.
Amazing.
Man, I could chat to you for an hour, even more. The Wall Street Journal's bestseller, Burn the Boats. He goes by the name of Matt Higgins. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for talking about Sarah.